Hey everybody, Ann here. This is our Ask the Expert online series. I first want to say, if you logged on to join us at 1 p.m. today, Tuesday, we had a little trouble. And thank you for trying to bear with us as we work through it. There was a Facebook issue and we could not go live. So we've opted to record this. We're going to give you the same great material. And we did get a couple of questions, which we'll hit at the end, but then you can also email us questions later. So I want to thank everybody for their willingness to join us today as we launch our Ask the Experts online series. I used to do these in person. We'd get a big group of experts together in a room like happy hour and invite a bunch of clients and they would bring their questions. Well, that's not possible during a pandemic. So what we're doing is we're having one expert each week on a topic of their expertise. So we're going to cover over the course of the weeks a variety of home and real estate related topics, and we welcome your suggestions. So if you've got a conversation you want to have or a topic you want to hear or a particular vendor type, let us know. Shoot me or Jennifer a text or email, and we will gladly work on getting that in the queue. This is being recorded, and we will continue to make it available on my Facebook page. We are going to share some really fantastic information during this conversation. And again, we do want you to shoot us some questions after the fact. Obviously, it's fine. So this week, our expert is Susie Adib from Liberty Mutual. And I want to thank you for joining us today, Susie. She's my very first expert in this new online forum. She's a leading sales rep at Liberty Mutual, a lead sales rep, and she's got 15 years of experience in the field. I've worked with her in Liberty Mutual for a number of years and have just been so pleased to have them as a referral partner. She's going to talk with us today about why you should have a household inventory and how to do one. I first wanted to start with a brief, timely update on the DC metro real estate market. I had talked with both my managing broker and one of our vice presidents here at McInerney, who's a fantastic number cruncher, David Howell. And what I want you to take away from this is that real estate is still happening. Sellers are still selling, buyers are still buying, but they're the real motivated ones because contract activity throughout our region, depending on the price point and the location, is down anywhere from about 30 to 45, 48%, something like that. So contract activity is down as you would expect during a worldwide emergency, but it's still happening. So homes are selling in some cases with multiple offers. The vast majority of properties in the close-in DC metro region are spending less than 30 days on the market. So I also found that very impressive. Contract activity I mentioned is down as much as a third, maybe more. But new listing activity is only down 5 to 10%. So sellers are still putting houses on the market. And remember, when we went into this, we had a housing shortage. So I think that's why we're still seeing properties move within a month. So I don't want to dwell too much on that data, but I know a lot of you are asking, and I wanted to offer some assurances that real estate is still happening, albeit a bit more carefully than it was before. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. I'm going to go ahead and launch in to our first question with Susie. Susie, thank you again for making yourself available today and bearing with us through the technology issues. Let's just get started. Why should we have a household inventory?
Lynn, first of all, thank you for having me on your first episode. I appreciate you reaching out to me for this. And I love being here to answer your questions. So yeah, home inventory is very important. If you have a loss to your home, part of your coverage is replacing all the items inside of your home. So if you take the roof off your home and you shake it upside down, that's all your personal belongings that we want to replace. If we don't know what those things are, it's very difficult and frustrating trying to replace them. So home inventory makes those items, first of all, being able to list them, easier for you to identify what you need to have replaced, and make the claim process faster, that you don't have to wait for so long. One common misconception that people have is, I have insurance, it's for X amount of dollars, I'll get a blank check. That's not how it works. You have coverage up to a certain amount, but it's not a blank check for that much money that we're going to give you. It's that we're going to spend that much to replace your items, and we want to make sure you have those items replaced to be able to move forward on it. So it does make it a faster process.
Interesting. And I agree with you. I think there is a misconception because I've always thought of it like your bigger ticket items. Like, of course, they're going to replace your furniture and any big ticket upgrades you did to the house. But you take it and, you know, shake your house upside down. I have all kinds of things that are going to fall out. You know,
Exactly.
lots of pairs of socks and gardening tools and dog leashes. So all that, huh?
Yeah, definitely. So, you know, we go through and we ask you how many pairs of socks, how many polo shirts, how many shoes do you have? And you go through a list room by room to say, these are how many of these items, how many coasters did you have? And those are what you have to replace. So having some kind of inventory or list of those things is really going to be a lot easier for you.
Okay, well, good to know. So what is the best way to make a household inventory? I've heard that people do it a variety of ways, maybe a simple handwritten list, and maybe a video inventory or photos. Any tips on how you recommend people do it?
So you can use any format you like. A lot of people have different levels of comfort as far as technology. So you could do a spreadsheet on Excel, you could do pictures or videos, you could do some apps. I went on and just looked up apps on my phone. There were a few that showed up. There's not one good way of doing it. So any way that you do it is great. What's important is take your time. It's a lot of information to fill out and go room by room. What you want to do is go through, take pictures and list what are the things in your house? What style couch do you have? Where do you get it from? What was the model number? What we're looking for is the more information you can give us, the more quickly we can go and replace those items. If you look at your kitchen, you know, taking a picture of the serial number on your refrigerator or your dishwasher or stove, where'd you buy those items from? We can go back and get those exact same items for you at that same place. And that's what the goal is. Okay.
Well, that makes sense. I think you had found some apps for us, right?
Yes, I had sent over Jennifer some apps that have that you can use, and you can use anything, like I said, that
There they are.
So one is a picture. It's not my closet. I'll go ahead and admit I'm not that organized. I was. Anybody who is can reach out to me. But a picture similar to this saying, here's all my dresses. Here's how many shoes I have, my purses, my shirts. This is great. A picture of your linen closet. Here's all my towels. Go through, clean that one spot, shoot a picture of it, and this is all the things that we need to replace. You know, you could do Excel or Google Sheets. There's apps on your phones that you can download, and it'll give you an inventory of your home. Whatever you choose to use, make it accessible for you, and nothing on paper that you're going to keep in the house, because you want to be able to keep it somewhere where you can access it. So if there's a fire in your home, if it's a paper form, it's going to burn. So you want to have it in a safe deposit box or upload it to the cloud or on Google, Excel, on Google Docs.
You know, that's key. Thank you for sharing that. That's key because I could see making a list and then having it burn up in a fire, and then you've spent the time, you've invested the time, and you lose the list anyway.
Exactly.
Those apps were just apps you found. You're not necessarily endorsing them, but they're examples of what one could use. And I also liked the idea, that it could be a bank box or it could be in the cloud. Just make sure it's not in your home, at least.
Right. Exactly.
Well, let's just say you or someone you know has never done a household inventory, or maybe it's been a while. How does the insurance company then come up with a value for the items in your home?
You know, that's a great question. So on your policy, you have coverage, and each company is a little bit different. With Liberty Mutual, we give you 75% of the replacement cost on your home. So however much it costs to rebuild your home, it's 75% of that value. Now that's the total you have to spend. We're going to ask for those items, ask for, an inventory. If you don't have it, you have an adjuster who will go room by room with you with a piece of paper saying, okay, how many, and how many socks, how many shoes, how many shirts, and you'll go through that. Part of your policy with Liberty Mutual is that you have replacement cost, which means if you bought a couch from, say, Lazy Boy, you bought it 10 years ago. We don't pay you the depreciated value. We pay you what it costs today to buy the same couch. So if it cost $1,000 10 years ago, and say it costs $12.50 now, we're going to pay the $12.50 for you to replace that item. So it's something important to look for on your policy.
Okay, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Okay, well then, in terms of the insurance policy, because they're going to be replacing things, is it important that people keep receipts for, you know, maybe improvements they've done to the property or personal items they purchased? I'm thinking furniture, or they've finally gotten rid of that builder grade carpet and subfloor and they've put in a beautiful hand scraped, you know, walnut floor or something like that. Like, do they need to keep that level of detail with the receipts?
So you don't necessarily need all of the receipts over the course of you owning your home, but you need to know what upgrades and what do you do. You know, if you had the base level carpeting, did you replace the flooring? What kind of flooring did you use? Where'd you do it at? We want to be able to get you that exact, you know, our goal as the insurance company is to bring your house back to what it was a day before you had the accident or the claim. So to be able to bring you back to that same condition and level. So let us know what that is. If you have, you know, the style number, the color, where you got it from. Same with appliances, style number, where you got it from. You don't need the actual receipt, but you need to know what it was and where'd you buy it. That's going to be the most helpful for you.
Okay, perfect. So then if you did create a video or photos or use the apps or Excel spreadsheet, any of these methods you mentioned, do we literally give a copy of that to the insurance company, or we hold on to it? Or we put it in the cloud and it's for our reference, or?
Right. So what you want to do is you don't need to give it to your insurance company right away. You only need to access it if there's been a claim. So you'll have an adjuster assigned to you. They're going to walk you through every aspect of your claim. That's who needs a copy of that. So when they're gonna ask you, do you have any type of inventory of your personal belongings? And you'll be a superstar when you say, here you go. I have this, and have it as detailed as you can do it. Update as frequently as you want to, and that way it'll make it easier. The claims process will be easier and less stressful for you when you have that.
All right, good to know. And we all love being superstars, so we have some homework to do.
Exactly.
How often should we be reviewing our insurance coverage for any improvements to the property or updated possessions?
That's a great question. So you think about your homeowner's insurance. Most people, it's paid through your mortgage company. You don't even think about it after you start it, after you close on the home. A lot of policies, Liberty Mutual is one of them, we have what's called inflation protection. So your insurance goes up by 4% each year. After a few years, that starts to add up a lot. And it can actually get too high. So every few years, you want to call, review what coverage you have, review what changes you want to make. You know, maybe when you started, you had a higher deductible, now you want to lower it, or vice versa. Maybe you had different items when you started. We have special coverages for, say, jewelry, artwork, collectibles, that's different than your regular personal belongings. Maybe you didn't have those listed when you first started. We need to update that now. And like you mentioned earlier, maybe you upgraded the flooring. Maybe you've done some changes. Maybe you added on an in-law suite. Those are changes that are going to affect your insurance. So every few years, call your agent, review your coverages, make sure your policy still makes sense for you. And then you can go from there.
Yeah, so we almost need to set a trigger, kind of like we used to tell people when the time changes, you know, change the batteries in your smoke detector, or change, you know, forbid you haven't changed a filter in your furnace for 6 months, change. So it's kind of the same thing when you something big, you know, trigger, I've got to update my insurance.
Exactly.
Can you walk me through any other issues people might want to consider related to doing a household inventory or updating their insurance policy?
So what you want to look at is, you know, think about whenever you even just spring clean, or even just cleaning your closet, you know, you're cleaning out a bunch of stuff. And how many times have you said, oh my God, I can't believe I have this, or oh, I've been looking for that. Without an inventory of what you have, we're not going to know what you have to replace it. So take your time. You don't have to do it all at once. It can be room by room, or, you know, area per area. Just start with one section and move from there. But just take your time doing it. The more thorough you are, the better it is for you. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, a picture works too. But just take your time when you're doing it so that you have more information to provide your insurance company to replace all of the things you spent so long to purchase and to add to your home. You know, if you think about the first time you moved into an apartment, how you had to go and buy even a sweeper or a broom, a broom. You know, you acquire a lot of things, and you just want to make sure they're properly insured. So talk to your agent, review your coverage to make sure they still fit you and your family, because your family changes, your insurance will change with it. And take your time when you're doing your inventory.
You know, I like the idea of going room by room, because it could feel a little overwhelming to people to, oh my gosh, I've got to catalog how many socks I have, how many forks I have. But you're right, if you break it down, and you're storing it somewhere like an Excel spreadsheet or doing separate videos or on the cloud, you know, in a Google Drive, you could just make additions to that over time.
Exactly, and just open a drawer and take a picture of it. This is what my silverware drawer looks like. Here's a picture of my pantry. Whatever it is, so it's not so overwhelming.
Yeah, okay, that's great. So that wraps up the questions that I had, but I know as we were planning to be live, but we did get a couple people who either emailed or texted questions, right, Jennifer?
Yeah, yeah.
You wanna ask those now? We'll just
Sure. Okay, so one of the questions was, what happens, you know, if I have burgundy carpet from the late 90s and my house burns down, do I have to get burgundy carpet again?
God forbid.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you know, that's not really what you want now.
Harvest gold.
Yeah.
You know, that's a great question. No, we don't want you to get 1973 shag carpeting again. But you're working with a claims adjuster, and there's still people too. So they'll work with you on getting the same, not so much the same color, the same grade, the same type. If you want, you know, I had a customer who had wanted to do upgrades then. He worked with his claims adjuster and paid the difference. So they'll work with you to make sure the house is what you want, and work with you on getting the same level of quality, maybe not exactly the same color. They'll definitely flexible on that end.
Okay.
Okay. Another one of the questions we have is, what happens with, like, you know, the materials you keep in your garage to, like, you know, care for your car, or the food you have in your pantry and your, you know, your freezer and that kind of thing. How is that valued?
So even though the materials in your garage are for your car, they're still personal property. Your car insurance only covers the vehicle itself, not the things you keep in your house to maintain it. So that's still personal property. Take a picture of however you store your things in your garage. As far as the pantry, and I'm going to go a little further than that, pantry and freezer, refrigerator, things like that, most policies have, it's called freezer coverage. And so say there's a hurricane and the power goes out for a week. All the things in your freezer are destroyed. Your policy will cover, typically, like Liberty Mutual has a coverage for $500 for anything in your freezer. So something similar to that you can get. Your pantry is still part of your personal belongings, so that's going to be covered as well. But you do have that coverage on your policy, on most policies.
How do they cover it if it's like food people made on their own and froze it? Like, think about the ingredients or something?
So they're going to ask for, you know, what are your typical shopping lists? Right. What do you typically buy? If you have receipts, great. They're going to talk to you about what your typical processes are and dig from there. And most times you're going to be, you know, if it's just a power outage, it's still going to be there. You can take a picture of it, or they can come and see it. It's just going to smell really bad, so stay away.
Okay. Did we have any other questions, Jennifer?
Yeah, we have one more. What happens, you know, a lot of people have pets, and I don't want to say my pet's a possession exactly, although I did pay for him. Is there value? Is that insured? You know, God forbid, but I don't want to think about it too much. But
that's a great question, because a lot of people have pets. I have a big fat cat that I've had for years. Unfortunately, pets, animals, livestock, they are not covered under homeowners insurance. But we do offer pet insurance. And so if you have pet insurance, that's going to cover any injuries your pet will suffer, going to the vet. God forbid they do perish in the fire, having them buried. Those costs are under your pet insurance. There's a few different companies and carriers. The one through Liberty Mutual is very comprehensive. It could be as general as you want or as comprehensive as you want. So it just depends on the level you want, but that option is for you on a separate policy.
Based on the pet's age? How is that?
Right, so it's based on the breed and age
Okay.
of the pet. The great thing about the pet insurance we use is Hartville. And the great thing about it is that they don't cover you for genetic, I'm sorry, they don't not insure you for genetic issues. So say you have a large dog, and very common with large dogs is hip dysplasia, that'll be covered as long as you're insured before that happens. So anything like cancer and any injuries to your dog, any medical conditions, and medical conditions they would suffer, as long as you have the insurance in place before, it'll cover it. It'll even cover obedience training if there's issues with the dog and you need to take it to a trainer. Mm-hmm.
But
It
that's
has to be recommended by your vet.
So that's completely separate though from.
That is separate than your homeowner's insurance.
Okay. Okay. So like if you have, I know a lot of people have chickens these days. So like the coop would be covered, but not the chickens themselves.
So on your policy, you have, it's called other structures, which are any other structures on your property that's not your home.
Okay.
That's covered. So the structure of the coop, whatever you keep them in, that would be covered. The actual animals themselves are not covered.
It's very interesting. Well, we'll have to keep in mind that you have pet insurance, because that's something, it doesn't immediately, I know it would come to your mind, Susie, it doesn't immediately come to mind. So, was that it for questions, Jennifer?
That's it, yeah.
Okay. Well, again, if you have questions, reach out to me and Susie. We're putting this, this is on our Facebook page, as you see. So feel free to send questions and we'll get answers for you. I think that about wraps us up. I want to thank you again, Susie Adib of Liberty Mutual, for coming. It is so great to have a referral partner like you. Thanks again for your time and expertise and hanging in there with us today.
Thank you, Anne, for having me on your Ask the Expert. It's been a pleasure. And yes, any questions you guys have, even in the future of a what if, feel free to reach out to me.
I've worked with you and Liberty Mutual for over 10 years, and you're a great resource and wealth of information. And I often tell my clients when I first meet with them, it's so much better to have an individual agent than a 1-800 number, because if you have a crisis, you can call. And I've had some clients over the years who had to call directly because of flooding or whatever. So thank you. I can't tell you guys how many times I have called Susie with questions like, so if a neighbor's tree is hanging on my client's property, do my clients have the right to trim the tree? She's so gracious about answering. So thanks again, Susie. I also want to thank Jennifer, who did a lot of the behind the scenes work on this today. Thank you so much, Jennifer. No laughing allowed. And to those of you who are watching our video, thank you for joining us. For those of you who tried to tune in, we so appreciate that you did that. And sorry, it didn't work as we intended, but we're still sharing really good information. Again, we'll keep it on Facebook. And if this information is of value to you, or know someone else who it might be of value to, please pass it along and let us know if you've got any related questions. I hope you can join us. We're going to have another topic next week. We're going to work out the method by which we get the information to you with details to follow. But our guest is Pragya Mishra. She is the owner and landscape architect. She's the owner of Artscapes, which is a fantastic landscape architecture company. And Pragya is going to talk with us about how to increase our living space by improving our outdoor space. With so many of us spending time at home, one of the comments I'm hearing regularly from my friends and family and clients is, I'm running out of places I can go. And Pragya assures me that she can do, small little lots. She can create outdoor spaces. She calls them outdoor rooms, up to big projects. So don't think that just because you have a condo with a patio or a small townhouse, she can't give you some really good advice. She really can. So we hope you'll tune in. Again, we'll get you the information about that. And then I wanted to let you know that each month I am doing an article for a local website. It's called Inside Nova. Our most recent topic was about often overlooked exterior maintenance issues. And I consulted with a Class A contractor and a local home inspector. And I think this is a good time people can tackle those kinds of projects. If you're interested in seeing it, it is posted on my Facebook page, and I'm happy to send you a link too. You can just reach out to me or Jennifer. Contractors, as you know, are essential, and they are looking for work, and they don't have to come inside your home. So it could be a good time to do that and support a local business. So thank you. And most importantly, be safe and be well out there, and do your homework, get your household inventory done. And please keep your ears open for buyers or sellers, for me, who might want to talk to an expert realtor. So real estate is still going on. We so appreciate your business, your referrals, and your attention as you watch this video. Thanks so much, and we'll see you soon.